You cut your portion size. You eat the tiny bowl of oats. By 10 a.m., you're staring at the donuts with a gnawing hunger. Trying to white-knuckle your way through the morning on 150 calories doesn't build discipline. It just drains your decision-making reserve so completely that by the time lunch rolls around, your biology forces you to overcompensate and overeat. To fix this, track foods across two metrics: fullness on the vertical axis and calorie cost on the horizontal. A sausage sandwich hits the top right, high fullness but massive calories. A fruit cup sits bottom left, low calories, but you'll be hungry in 30 minutes. The target for weight loss is the empty top left quadrant, feeling completely full for a very low calorie cost. Reaching that space is entirely possible, but doing so requires you to abandon one-size-fits-all recipes and build a meal for your specific biology. Scrolling online for a universal best breakfast is a waste of time. A meal that perfectly fuels a marathon runner will wreck the blood sugar of a sedentary office worker. Success comes down to identifying which of three specific barriers destroys your mornings: an overwhelming physical appetite, an absolute lack of time, or digestive limits imposed by medication. Choosing the right food requires a brutal, honest assessment of which of those frictions actually derails you. Once you isolate the problem, you can apply one of 4 specific architectural profiles to solve it. Profile 1 is the satiety seeker. If you fail diets because the physical sensation of an empty stomach is too distracting, this is your category. Volumetric solves this. The physical mass of high-water, high-fiber food stretches the stomach wall, activating neural pathways that shut off hunger hormones. Comparing 100 calories, zucchini or cauliflower takes up massive physical space in the gut, whereas dense bread barely registers. In practice, this means building your morning meals on massive bases of leafy greens, or bulking up a standard bowl of oats by mixing in a cup of riced cauliflower. The trade-off here is time and balance. Plowing through that much fiber requires significantly more chewing, and if taken to the extreme to save calories, you risk cutting out the dietary fats your body needs to maintain healthy hormone levels. Next is the plant-based optimizer. You want to avoid animal products, but you struggle to hit the protein thresholds required to stay full until lunch. The strategy here is replacing dense animal proteins with complex plant matrices. This gives you the building blocks of protein while simultaneously delivering dense fiber. Instead of eggs or whey, you anchor the meal with foods like tofu, chia seeds, and quinoa. These specific inputs bring distinct macronutrient profiles that stack together to build a complete protein base. Eating this way drops dietary cholesterol to 0, introduces high anti-inflammatory benefits, and provides a slow, controlled energy release, keeping blood sugar stable. But it requires proactive planning. You have to actively combine different plant sources to get all your essential amino acids. And if you jump from a low-fiber diet straight into massive doses of legumes and chia seeds, you will likely experience severe bloating. The third profile is the medical modifier. If you are taking prescription weight loss medications, your biological hunger signals are operating under completely different rules. Drugs like Wegovy and Ozempic work primarily by significantly delaying how fast your stomach empties food into your intestines. Because food sits in the stomach much longer, the volumetrics approach we talked about earlier actively backfires. Eating a massive volume of cauliflower or greens will rapidly trigger severe nausea and gastrointestinal distress. You have to pivot to the exact opposite strategy. You avoid high-fat foods and GI irritants like heavy spices or salsa. Instead, you optimize for small, bland, nutrient-dense portions, like half a cup of cottage cheese or a few slices of lean turkey. The cost is culinary excitement. To prevent severe heartburn and nausea, you sacrifice bold flavors and satisfying meal sizes for strict functional utility. Finally, the frictionless prepper. For this profile, the barrier isn't ravenous appetite or tricky digestion. It is an absolute lack of time before 8 a.m. The philosophy is front-loading 100% of your labor to the weekend. You do the work once to entirely eliminate decision fatigue from weekdays. Only specific formats survive this method. You rely on dense, freezable breakfast burritos, chilled overnight oats, or baked egg and tofu muffin cups that can be reheated in seconds. By removing the need to measure, cook, or even think during the morning rush, this automated approach guarantees you hit your macronutrient targets. You take willpower completely out of the equation. But automation demands repetition. Locking into a preset architecture on Sunday means giving up daily variety, textures, and the comfort of a freshly cooked meal. With these profiles laid out, you can stop guessing and actively select the nutritional framework that matches your daily reality. This decision tree routes you by your primary hurdle. Left path, for crippling hunger, optimize for high-volume greens to trigger stomach stretch. Center path, for GLP-1 side effects, use small, lean protein anchors. Right path, zero time to cook, lock into batch prepping on autopilot. Trying to copy the breakfast routine of an athlete or an influencer usually fails because it ignores the constraints of your unique biological reality. The morning meal shouldn't be an exercise in culinary excellence. It is a tactical deployment of macronutrients designed to get you to your next meal without a crash. Stop looking for the best recipe on the internet. Assess your friction points, pick your profile, and build the exact nutritional architecture you need to solve your specific constraints for the next 4 hours.